You're listening to the Unreasonable Fridays podcast network.
Go ahead, stand up, stand up, stand up. Stand up. Stand up. Stand up.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another episode of AddSpace. I'm your host, Aaron Rand Freeman, but with me, the actual host, the owner, proprietor, lead artist, lead editor, travel czar, social media maven, lead architect. Congratulations. Office manager. Yeah, office manager. Congratulations
Sorry,
again, Ellis
the
Bacon.
position of office manager will be terminated. We are now moving offices, and the office that which we are going to be moving to is not actually an office. And so we will no longer be having offices. So please stop trying to call our office because there will be nobody here.
At least bacon, everyone.
Due to mass layoffs and property restructuring, there will be no longer any office.
Yes. In fact, we will. Bacon's moving, so we are dealing with we're dealing with that. That's where Bacon's been, is moving and dealing with the back and forth of trying to move in a very, very expensive, very, very stingy city.
I think I did explain my situation the last time we had an episode, and I can now say that I did successfully sign a lease. I still also am in a oh God, any support is great, but I have a place to stay. I have a home to live in. I officially have a shoebox, which is why we will not be having offices. And there is not enough room in the shoebox for an office. So therefore, we're doing this WeWork style. Oh wait, WeWork went bankrupt. Never mind.
I mean, WeWork is still living the dream. They still exist, right? Like WeWork. I've seen WeWork offices.
Do they?
Do they?
I
Yeah.
I don't know. What I have seen is that apartment complexes now will rent workspace. So we are there. The dream of WeWork is living if WeWork is not technically living or is living the struggle life, which honestly WeWork could do. WeWork should just join the people in living a life of struggle.
I see so many apartments here in Austin. They've spent so long building these buildings, and now years after, there's like 2 people living in these fucking luxury condos. And I'm like, I am pleased that you destroyed so much land and consumed so much property to build these luxury condos nobody can fucking afford. We've all moved an hour away from the city. So good luck to you renting out these. And this is like for like 8 months. It's just like two lonely cars in the parking lot. Haunted ass fucking condos. We also have N'Jaila Rhee of the Cuntcast, global activist, writer.
It's coming back, y'all.
I mean, it's always around, and that's really the point. Is that the Cuntcast is always with us everywhere we go.
I've been wanting to like come back and do weekly shows. I even started like gathering stories and whatnot, but then I kept on having to like go and do things. So I had to travel. I went back to Jersey.
Yes.
I went to Newark Pride, which was terrifying because ICE raided it. Well, I shouldn't say raided, but they were patrolling it like menacingly. And it was bad enough that it was basically N'Jaila Rhee marched, and only 3 of us could march because, ICE. And so it was 3 sex workers with our little like sex work is queer work things and my red umbrella, and then a huge parade float of cops. So that was Newark Pride.
I mean, to be clear, just understand that that's a fine reason. You also were, you were in Europe. You were in Europe twice. or one time?
Yes.
Was it twice?
Well, I was in Europe. Well, I mean, I go to Europe sometimes, but most recently I was in Geneva for the UPR, which is the Universal Periodic Review, which is one of the systems within the Human Rights Council of the United Nations. And I was there getting meetings with nation states to snitch on America. That's pretty much what I was doing. We kind of
As you
gathered
do.
our things, made our claims. Basically, I was there to talk about how the United States uses criminalization to destroy the human rights of sex workers and trans people specifically. So I had some very good meetings. I got to talk to Finland for like 2.5 hours. So I'm really hoping that they are going to be receptive to what we had to say.
What are the percentage chances of them sending over robot ninjas or anything really tangible to start really getting their hands on with this whole fascism thing? Like, I understand that we don't have anything to offer anyone, but
Well, if you could see, there are multiple genocides happening right now, and nobody's really doing anything. So I'm going to say that percent is 0, big fat 0.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking that, but I was just seeing if there was anything out of the box being planned, like maybe one really effective cyber ninja. You know what I mean? Something like that. Like I went into like a virtuous mission, like like just one.
I was in a meeting that was chaired by the nation of Colombia about harm reduction, and a representative from Singapore. Basically, Colombia was like, criminalizing drug dealers and people is not helping. We have to do a harm reductionist view of these things and appeal to people's humanity and provide them services. And that's how we're going to improve life. And the representative from Singapore was like, but like, that's not everybody's solution, because some people are really attached to punishing. So it's pretty much the argument, like, yeah, so you have all these studies that show criminalization doesn't help, but like, some people have warm fuzzies when they think about caning people. So
that's us.
Why should we stop?
That's us.
It's us.
That's us. USA. Yeah. USA. 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 Master.
At least the sandwiches were okay. Actually, that's a lie. The sandwiches were horrible. They had something called a curry sandwich that had like carrot peelings.
No. Before you continue, is this hating gonna cause like international incident? Is this like someone's cultural delicacy that we're about to dunk on? Because if somebody's throwing back the curry sandwiches right now,
no, it's not. It's actually Europeans like finding out about turmeric and then going, well, okay, Indians and all the rest of the world, you didn't add enough mayonnaise to this. That's what's happening.
Oh, like Tex-Mex.
My favorite thing that like white people do globally is when they discover a spice or like a vegetable or something, they hyper focus on that one thing and lose their goddamn minds. They're like, no, they're like, bro, you don't understand. Like turmeric, right? You can use it for everything. Like, it's in all of Indian food and all kinds of stuff. But really, not only does it make your food like bright orange, it's like got a really intense flavor, and it goes in everything, and there's like wild health benefits.
Oh my god,
yeah. And they just do this with everything.
Yeah, I made a mistake in Geneva of ordering a curry chicken sandwich. Now, if I was to say to you, curry chicken sandwich, what would that invoke to you?
I don't know, because you also said Geneva, and there are people with very interesting decisions around food in that area. So I don't know.
So I would think you take curry chicken, you wait till it gets cool, maybe shred it up, uh, put it between bread, right?
Yeah, little
Maybe
sauce,
some
little sauce,
lettuce,
little
some
chicken.
fixins.
Yeah, a little sauce, tomato. Got a little maybe like a pepper in there or something like that. You know, a little lettuce.
Yeah, so curry chicken is um, unseasoned chicken.
Excuse me.
Uh, yes, the no seasoning to cook the chicken, um, and you basically make chicken salad, but you add just a little bit of turmeric just to give it a little color, and then the rest slathered in mayonnaise, all of the mayonnaise. And then you take a boiled egg, also unseasoned, and you slice that up, and you put that on top of the unseasoned, lubricated turmeric chicken,
Mm.
and then you wrap it up, and you serve it with a smile, and you give it to some poor unsuspecting Caribbean person.
The spices can kill certain people of the global citizenry. So I think they have to play it super safe. So I get it. They gotta play it real safe because they
Yeah,
can't have someone just like falling over and die,
yeah,
exploding into blood like Mortal Kombat because they had a proper curry chicken
yeah. And
sandwich.
I don't want to say Geneva had all bad food because I actually stayed in a hotel that had a pretty well-known restaurant attached to it, and they had some nice like continental cuisine, like a roast uh beef kind of thing, and like sliced steak or something with like roasted vegetables and a puree, and that was pretty delightful.
Yeah, there we go. All right.
But like almost all the food there, no seasoning. The first time I went to Geneva, I was there for 2 weeks, and I was so sad because I didn't know that it was going to be devoid of seasoning there. Um, and I was so desperate for something to excite my taste buds that in a fit of desperation, I DoorDash. Well, they don't have DoorDash there, but I Uber eated. I don't know how to verbiage that. I got Doritos, not really looking at it because you're so used to just seeing the color of a Dorito bag and thinking you know what you're getting. Um, it was not, uh, regular nacho cheese Doritos. No, 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 far too spicy. Their red Doritos are paprika flavored.
Really?
Yes, paprika.
Hmm.
The So it's like if somebody whispered bell pepper into a bag of potato chips, shook it up, and then gave it to you. That's what it was.
Huh. All right. So Geneva has no spices in it. All right. That's fine. It's
Weirdly enough, you know what food I did love in Geneva? KFC. They had amazing fries.
okay. So I have a question then, because the problem, and I've said this before, is that KFC in America looks like it had a previous drug or alcohol abuse problem. Like every single KFC, the building, not just like the food itself is always a little sad, but like the building itself looks like it got itself together, like it's got a job, it's getting on its feet. But when it was real bad for KFC, it was real bad. And all of them look like that. And as a result, I don't have KFC when I grew up on it, but the building just looks like it's a sad
Yeah.
chain. Does it look like that in
I
Javina?
can't. No, it's like super clean.
Is it like bright red? Because that's a problem. Like faded.
And also, it doesn't have the KFC smell. Like I cannot eat KFC just because I don't like the smell of KFCs, like that old oil
That's what
kind
I.
of.
It's what I mean. It has like it had a previous alcohol problem. Like KFC, the institution in America, looks and smells like it had like the building had an alcohol problem for a long
Yeah.
time, and it's like been sober for like
So
150 days and good for KFC, but the food's still not there yet. Like we need to be eating out of it. So
yeah, so I stayed by Cornevin Station. So if anybody from Geneva is listening, that's my favorite KFC, the one inside Cornevin Station, which is an underground mall. Uh, they should have these here because you just go underground and you could go food shopping It's just a whole mall, but underground. It's great. But it was super clean, and you didn't have to talk to anyone because you order on a little kiosk on your phone, and they just call the number out. But they also will just like your number will flash on a screen because I I I could speak. I can't even speak. I could understand very little French. I can't do the numbers. I tried. French numbers and me, we don't mix. But I that's the one place I was like, I can order and I can get what I want and I don't have to talk to anybody. So I enjoyed their fries. They had like they have chicken burgers, which is like a like they had like the Popeyes chicken sandwich before Popeyes had it here, but it's just not spicy. Um, but it's like fresh. Everything tastes it all tastes like real food. Like the potato like the french fries taste like potato, you know? Not like microplastics and sadness like most fast food fries here.
It's okay because I've been
Oh, please.
now that I'm back on to my mobile war game addiction, that means I'm talking with people from all over the world again. And we had a conversation about US food and it there's a lot of things I have to explain all the time. Like one of the latest ones was on bread and how our bread isn't very good. And I'm like,
They
I'm
say
like,
our bread is cake because it has so much sugar in it.
I'm like, okay, I understand where you get the generalization from. I get it. But I'm like, also, uh fresh bread the way you're thinking of, homie from the Netherlands. Um you can get here. It just depends on where you live.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
that's a big thing that I have to explain to a lot of like literally anybody not from here
Yes.
is that what you are able to get and get daily and get feasibly entirely depends on where you live and what your level of access is.
Mhm.
And that's something
Yes.
that they cannot comprehend. They're like, what do you mean?
It's, yeah, it's a
You
food
just
desert.
walk
There's
into
some
any of the
places.
stores and get freshly baked bread. And I'm like,
It's
if
like,
you have
no.
a good grocery store, you can.
Yeah, where the U.S. is a
If you
lot.
live in an area that's like the heartlands of middle America, you can get fresh produce from all of the local farms. You still have to drive an hour because there's no grocery stores.
Yeah.
There's large farmers markets where you can like get things. But we like the quality of food that you get is extremely dependent on where you live and what your access level is, and they're just like, I don't understand. And I'm like,
Well, the thing
It's just like your education. It's where you live.
so I always tell people that the United States has about 50. It's 50 states, like 50 states, and like, but really it's 22 separate countries here, and that's the critical thing. We have several different countries inside of our country, and depending on where your country is, totally affects what you learn and what you eat and what you have access to. So
Yeah.
I am in food country, but I'm not an education country. I am 45 minutes away from several farms. Everything I get from a restaurant is relatively weak, about a week old. It is less than a week old. Now, could my fictional teenage no could my fictional child get an abortion? No. Will I?
No.
No, not in this country. Not in this country inside of America.
I mean,
Well,
Texas has two countries right there.
right, right. And then it's like, depending on where you are in Texas, you can learn about black people, but in most of the country of Texas, you cannot. And But the trade-off is you can get, fresh produce pretty much on demand. So, and then there's the country of like Washington down to like Mexico, that whole country where you can like be gay, you know, you can get proper medical care. And it seems as though, for the most part, leadership cares about you as a human. And, that's part of that country in America. So yeah, like Bacon, you're in your own country, and that's why you can get proper care, proper gender affirming care. And if you went to my country, you would get none of it.
There's also doctors here who know what I have.
Yes.
Which is why I can't leave.
Which is why we're all trapped where people are trapped in their various. Why you don't say when somebody goes, hey, why don't you just leave Texas? No, I cannot leave my country, as Bacon cannot leave their country. If I was a wealthy person, this would be a logistical nightmare. Even if I had millions of dollars, I couldn't round everybody up because everybody needs something that they get in their own country. So we'd have to make massive arrangements. Shout out to America. It's we gotta make we gotta make a map of how many different countries are in America.
I love we are like so diverse, so many countries, but they're all kind of shit, just in their own special way.
We have our
own that's true globally.
We have the globe is several flavors of cesspool, and you have to find the one that's right for you.
So I also will say that I had a thought. It wasn't too long ago, but it's about the sugar thing, because a lot of people say American food is too sweet, U.S. food is too sweet, and that we eat too much sugar. And I stopped one day and I was just thinking, and I went, sugar has been one of our largest agricultural exports since always.
Right.
Like, yes, if you are a large producer of sugarcane, guess what's going to be in your country?
That's right.
The difference is we switched when plantations, and we like the plantations destroyed all the environment because we weren't actually doing farming correctly. This literally destroyed the ground, so that even after sharecropping times, like you couldn't really do anything. We switched to corn and started making sugar with corn and other products. Still large producer of sugar. So why would we not have sugar?
Yeah.
I was just like, at some point I was like, this feels racist. I don't know why it feels racist.
What I think it's weird sometimes, like as somebody who goes from America to Europe, like the weird way they pity us, but then like we pity them right back because they're like, oh, your food is so disgusting. And then we're like, oh, your food so disgusting. Like we both think everybody's food is crap. But what I think it's funny, I got clocked as an American for the first time in my life because I was just following directions. I was at the airport and it says the huge sign that says, do not line up until boarding. And so I was like standing near the lineup, but I didn't go into the lineup because it said, don't line up until boarding. And somebody was like, just go. And I'm like, the sign. And they're like, oh. They looked at the other person with them. They're like, they're American. And they're like, don't worry, nobody's going to hurt you. They're like Americans. We follow rules or else. You're not wrong.
I mean, that's true, isn't it? Yeah, we are prepared to be beaten to death for things, aren't we? Like, we really are emotionally prepared to be beaten to death for stuff.
Not nobody's going to hurt you.
No.
Oh my God.
Like, oh my God, like we are, there's a lot of smoke for just not following directions. Holy shit, there's a lot of smoke for not following directions. That's crazy.
Because if you don't follow directions, a cop might kill you and get off because technically
you weren't following directions. Yes. Yeah, once they start calling in security, it starts to escalate real fast. It doesn't matter what kind of security either. They all trying to try to kill you at some point. And yeah,
Yeah.
it's yeah, I didn't really, now that you've said that, yeah, I would get jammed up for the same thing. I'm like, oh, I don't want to be beaten to death here in Europe.
I just
Yeah, because
okay.
I
To
was
be,
not about to line up.
I
'Cause
was
I was
like,
like,
to
hey,
be
large sign.
fair, I worked in signage and I would read the sign and follow the sign directions because that was my literal job for 10 to 12 years.
So what I mean is, I realize this, like, as a New Yorker, right? As a New Yorker, you don't follow street signs if there are no cars. If there are no cars coming, it doesn't really fucking matter. I'm crossing the street on a small scale. But I realize if you're European, you can jaywalk all the signs because you're aware of how little resist. Like, I know I'm not going to be beaten to death for jaywalking if no cop can see me. Usually there are no cops watching for jaywalking. So I'm not saying I wouldn't be. I'm saying I'm making sure the cops don't see me doing it. But I think if you're European, you have that ability to finesse all the signs. Like, you know what signs mean what in reality versus practice, where in America, the only sign we can finesse is the walking sign. It's the walking signal.
And even then, you can't. You don't know who's gonna have a bad day and decide you need to be punished to the full extent because you were jaywalking or loitering. Just like what you standing around, not on my watch, bitch. That's how America is, which is like people are like, why don't you Americans just like rise up and like take Trump to task? I'm like, they kill us for anything.
Yeah, they kill you. They
Like,
Also, do you not realize, like, that's another thing too, is I don't think people think of how big the country is.
right. If America was the size of Texas, then yes. If America was the size of Maine, then yes. Rhode Island, yes. Idaho, yes. But it is several countries stuck together, and several of those countries are filled with fascists that will kill other people for fucking with their fascism. Even theoretical fascism from 1,000 miles away. Even then. Like I said, there are plenty. You can get someone from Idaho to swear to kill somebody from California. They'll never set foot in California. No one from California will ever set foot in Idaho. But the good God, that person's ready to kill the first drag queen they see, by so help them God. And that's
I mean,
us.
they will drive like 10 hours,
Right. For
but
smoke.
they won't go into Southern California. They'll only stay in Northern California, which is still by Idaho.
Right. So they won't.
You got a 10-hour max drive.
Right. So
The real hardcore ones will do the 2 to 3 day drive, but I'm gonna tell you, they are not the norm.
yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we're under duress here. Like, and really, like, having to sit down and talk about it. We're under duress, so we're gonna move on to actual
Speaking
news.
of moving on and duress, we actually brought on N'Jaila for N'Jaila's expert opinion on a topic that we have talked multiple times about. But because, again, N'Jaila is the expert on this, and I like to remind people of N'Jaila's expertness, we are going to be talking about how credit processing companies, Visa, MasterCard, the other ones that I cannot remember because they're almost irrelevant except for when it matters, really hate sex workers and sex work and anything to do with the 3 letters SEX in any sort of format next to each other.
Yeah.
Because what just happened, like, today and the last little while, a whole bunch of not safe for work games and indie games just got delisted, and the creators' money stopped.
Yeah. And not just
So
games, also books and light novels.
books, independent creators work. And again, like I said, not just limited to games. So I'm going to transfer over to N'Jaila. N'Jaila, tell us what is going on.
Basically, the largest money processing companies have so much power that they now get to tell everyone else what art is sellable. Because if they could do this on itch.io, they could do this anywhere. And they've already came after Steam. They've already come for you know, platforms with erotic labor, but sex workers always told y'all it's not going to stop with us.
O-
Like
Okay, so
we're
let's
the canaries in the coal mine.
Oh
But
yeah, 100%. Sex workers are the canaries in the coal mine. Let's go backwards a little bit. What happened with Steam?
so a group from Australia, which is an evangelical Christian group called Collective Shout,
They've been around for
decided
a minute.
to, yeah, they've been around for a long time. They decided to target video games. So they targeted some mainstream games like Grand Theft Auto 5, um, uh, the Being Human, the Android Martin Luther King game that's terrible, uh, with Homeboy from the hospital show.
Jesse Williams. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, so they wanted that game to be banned because it depicts violence against women and violence against children. Even though in that game, like the player isn't abusing women and children. Everybody's like, woohoo, yeah, we love this. It's like not that it's not celebrating those things, but they've targeted that game for that. Um, and basically they wanted to attack Steam and itch.io because they were hosting adult games, not safe for work games, and writing and anything that they deem as explicit, basically. So because Visa and MasterCard have no fucking backbone, they will just change their TOS, and then Collective Shout will go back to uh, the people that are hosting materials and then say, oh, well, we're reporting you. So we're going to get your, contract with the payment processor revoked so you can't actually run your business. And that's their MO, because I've been doing it to sex workers for, since they was online payments, which is why there's pretty much, it's so hard to make a new payment system that it's almost completely a monopoly. There's basically 3 companies that run all kinds of payments, and even the ones that you would say, oh, well, I'm using like Square or I'm using PayPal, they still answer to the same payment processors. So,
Yeah, it's Visa, MasterCard, and who's the third?
Discover.
There we go. I was like, I cannot remember at all. Yeah, and it's worth noting that all of this stuff too that's been happening, like with Patreon, with even Twitch. Someone's Tumblr's notorious.
Well, Tumblr did it to themselves before this even happened. Where they're just like,
I meant over the years.
Yeah.
Oh, over the years. That at one point Tumblr could have been like, fuck you, no. But they backed themselves into a corner.
Yeah.
In the most ridiculous way possible. But yeah, essentially what it is like if they determine that you have any if you are hosting any explicit work, that they'll just shut off your payment processing, and you can't function as a business if your payment processing is shut off. So there is one of those things where, like, if a organization is being held responsible and their payment processing is getting threatened to shut off, they're probably going to cave. Yeah. Because it's either that or they don't operate. In which case, you need to put pressure on both the company and the credit processing.
Yes.
But
it's very scary because these companies basically have the power to censor the internet.
Yes.
It's not going to come from a government. It's not going to come from any kind of legislation. It's going to be the fact that websites will not be able to function without the approval of 3 companies.
Yes.
So basically, if an artist wants to do art, they will not be able to make a living at it unless MasterCard approves. that is not a world I want to live in.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not going to stop at video games. It's not going to stop at sex work. It's not going to stop. It's going to be suddenly, well, you know what else is not safe for work and what they find collective shout wants censored from the internet? The fact that trans people exist.
Yes, the pipeline from not safe for work content to let's oppress the queers is a straight line. It's literally the next step. And trans people are, of course, the first in that line.
And anything that acknowledges queer people existing. You know, if you think you can't have a game that talks about, violence, domestic violence, then, what other type of familiar and women's issues are they going to go after that you now can't depict and can't talk about? It's not about making the internet safe for kids, because kids shouldn't be everywhere on the internet. I think there should be spaces for children where they are safe, and I think websites should be able to have it so they keep children safe when it's a mixed age space. But to make the entire internet child friendly in a way that just says nothing objectionable can ever be depicted ever is just not a functional internet. Because then how you're going to censor history that might be upsetting to kids? Because you know what? The transatlantic slave trade is pretty fucking upsetting. So we're just not going to have anything depicting or talking about that. It is
Right.
slippery slope that gets scary very fast.
Yeah, I mean, and we've seen it like a bazillion times before, where like, you know, sex work is, and that's why sex workers are the canary in the coal mines. Where like sex work is just the start, and they're just using it as their way to work themselves up the ladder, to the social hierarchy ladder, to just oppress all the groups that they don't like, while using whatever they deem can fit as an excuse, as a reason. A lot of these, like we see it all the time, where especially religion gets used as a tool to oppress people, even if those people don't even follow the religious beliefs, etc. And that's a lot of what this specific group does. And again, they're out of Australia. This is Australia based. And
Yes.
even though these companies do publish internationally, these are US companies. Like Steam is owned by Valve. Valve is here in the US, actually.
Yeah.
Bellevue, Washington. small little company, Bellevue, Washington, about 200 employees. Publisher. And this is an Australian based company that is harassing or credit processing companies to do this.
Yes. And they are getting real efficient at it.
Yes. When something works, it becomes part of the system, and now they have a system.
And I've been in meetings with MasterCard trying to appeal to them, and to say it was not I'm trying to find the most diplomatic way to say this. They did meet with us. They did speak with us. But they made it very clear that they were not very concerned with maintaining anything other than their bottom line.
Which is wild, because this wouldn't affect their bottom line.
Not at all.
No, but I feel like they would much rather have a knee-jerk reaction where they overcorrect than actually tell these lobbyists no.
So eventually there'll come a point where they're boxed in because of their own refusal to stand up for themselves. Their own spinelessness will eventually create a situation where they're stuck too.
Yes.
To be honest, and I felt this way for quite a while. It's like I feel like the leadership in a lot of these companies actually just agree.
They do. I don't think you're wrong in that.
Because they are not unaware of their power, and they also know that people will literally just spend money on anything.
Yeah,
there is no this like not listening to them will not hurt their bottom line, at all, at all.
no.
Actually, if they increase what their credit processing services cover, it will increase their bottom line. I'm like, but their bottom line doesn't actually matter. It doesn't matter at all. I honestly don't think that it does. At some point, I had this thought, and this could just be me. I will accept being wrong. That while money isn't what people are looking for, money is just a tool for social power. But it's actually the social power that matters, and not the money. Money is, again, like I said, making the point with religion, where you can use it as a means of social power. I actually firmly believe that they are just very anti-sex worker, period.
Yeah, it's not just sex work.
Anti-sex work, anti any of it. Their leadership.
Because it's so easy to be like, oh, well, you shouldn't have porn games because porn is bad, blah, blah, blah. It's exploitative. Yeah, I heard the spiel. But if we are so quick to say that something isn't liked, therefore it can't be accessible, it is just going to funnel people into a situation where everything can be censored.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And I don't think that people mind that censorship, and I think that censorship is actually the goal.
Oh,
there's a lot of
the goal.
I want to hide what I don't want to see, or what I don't want people to see, or more to be more both specific and broad. I want to determine what can and cannot be seen. I want control.
Yeah. And that's what it's about. Not just control, but what becomes valid and what is not valid.
Yes.
Suddenly, oh, well, you can't see Casablanca because that is now banned because of its depictions of people defying the government. That sounds horrible, but hey, they can make up a reason to ban pretty much anything.
Yeah. And the way you do that is by going for the quote easy unquote, and then you move the goalposts.
Yeah.
And we see this all the time, and we see it right now, across the country. I would like to say, because we didn't really talk about it, what exactly happened with Itch.io, and what is Itch.io?
So it's a platform where people can make independent games, but also mods for games, light novels, ebooks, all types of things, and they host it. So you put it on their servers, and then people pay, and then they let people download your content. And so what they did, they delisted us just anything that isn't if you could make the argument that it's not safe for work, it has now been delisted. So Yuri games, some dating sims are now gone. Um, I mean, yeah, there's adult games on there. They're all been delisted, but it's not just like delisting in that term means nobody could access it because some titles are hosted, like the game is actually hosted on the site. So if it comes delisted and removed, that means people who purchased it can now no longer play that game and nobody's gotten refunds. So a whole bunch of people have content that they've purchased and cannot access because it's delisted from the site.
Yeah, and they're like these creators are just not are also just not getting paid for their work.
Yes.
All of their funds are on hold until each individual listing gets reviewed.
Yeah, and hundreds of thousands of listings are gone.
And that is why, and this all happened today, which is why I scheduled an emergency podcast session.
Yeah.
Aaron's not seen me this organized in months.
I mean, you did kind of you kind of charged into the office a little more inspired than what I'm like. You're moving more so. It's not that you don't have this in you. It's just that you're moving and you've been getting the runaround for moving for about 90 days now. So the 90 days have been touch and go, in which I respect that. But today you emerged ready to go with a plan. This entire episode was put together by Bacon on a whim. Like, who's ready? I'm ready here. Here are the time zones. Let's meet here right now. The only thing I did was show up and send a link for riverside.fm, no sponsorship, to record this program. And the rest has been all Bacon because 100,000 things got delisted. Yeah. I'm very interested. There's a game I bought called Psychorama that's apparently it's survival horror, but also it's a metaphor for being queer. Like, that's why I got it. Like, it's very on its face about being queer, but like a cyberpunk metaphor for it. And the first thing it says is like the money goes to this here, and you can also donate here. And it's itchy. It's an itch.io itch.io link to where you can donate for like suicide prevention and stuff like that. So I'm like, where the money goes from this game goes here. You can also go here in these links, and I'm like, oh, I literally just saw this. I wonder if this would be considered not safe for work because, like you said, they have the trigger warnings and everything. So I'm like, wow, that's like immediate effect if you are interested in any type of if you enjoy playing indie games, if you enjoy reading about these different experiences, even in a not safe for work fashion, just respectfully, just seeing art made about different perspectives, it's very dangerous. So yeah.
And what's weird is I'm seeing a whole bunch of people going, oh, the gooners, that's all it is. Like goobers who can't get over losing their FAP material. It's like, no, like art is being erased.
Right. And
like
and also like I'm not, and to me whether it's explicit or not doesn't matter, but I also just want to include that there is not explicit content that is being removed.
Yes.
It just has references to like sex or sexual themes, as in like, hi, I slept with somebody.
Yeah.
Like references to I know like they like to put like, oh, this game has references to sexual themes. Does not mean there's anything explicit mentioned, talked about, or anything. It's literally just we talk about sex in passing like two normal fucking adults do.
Yes.
Or not fucking adults do.
And like if I feel like if Collective Shout is successful, like they're just not going to stop. Because like Australia is this weird because like they're progressive in some ways and in some ways really not progressive. Like there are portions in Australia where sex work has been decriminalized, and that is great. It's like two counties or whatever. But also they tried to ban porn that depicts people with under a B cup because they are arguing that that was like the gateway to child exploitation. And I'm just like, no, adult women don't always have large breasts or larger like you're basically they've made some poor decisions is all I'm saying. So this group has been behind some of that. It's looking bleak. Just globally it's been looking bleak as of late.
Um, as a person, if you're listening, it's just we'll say that your role in this, since people always want to know what they can do, is to change how dismissive you are about censorship stories, because you see things like this, and then oh, it's just fat titty games. As a person who's seen plenty of fat titty games, I understand that it's not. It is never what it says on the tin. All censorship initiatives are never what they say on the tin.
Censorship always hurts the most marginalized voices the most. Period.
Yes.
Right. They put a label on there so that you're comfortable with whatever it is that they're attacking. But the attack is never what it says on the tin. It is absolutely designed to minimize, to shrink the voices and the reach and the viability of marginalized people. So anytime you hear about this story, if you hear this got banned, that got banned, always look at who, and don't be so quick to take the story at face value.
Yeah.
It's all censorship is a Trojan horse at this. Especially, it was always the case, but now it's more the case than it's ever been in my life.
And I will actually be very real. It took me a while to to realize that, because I've like always been a pretty big free speech person. But I also am a Black trans disabled person in the United States. So that means that there's a lot of free speech that I would just really not like, But
Mm-hmm.
I also understand that this kind of censorship, the censorship that comes from the government, or also we're going to just call them government adjacent, because if you control this much of the economy, um, there's a lot of power there.
Yeah.
Uh, if these entities are allowed to control what people can and cannot say, uh, it will always be used in a way that will always harm the most marginalized voices. Always, regardless. There is no other way around it. And that took me and I will openly admit, that took me quite a while to realize and come around to and understand.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, when I talk to not like other activists who aren't like sex worker rights activists, but they're like human rights activists, I usually tell them that like what we're fighting, like we're all in it together. Because like if I'm not free, you're not free. Because the same systems that they create to criminalize me are the same things they're going to use to criminalize you and control you. And it's all about fighting for not only our innate human rights, but like our autonomy over our own bodies. Because at the end of the day, what these people seek to censor is that it's not going to stop at our games, it's not going to stop at our art. It's about the control we have over ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And there are people who do not think you should have control over yourself.
Exactly.
Whether that is, who you marry, what you learn, uh, what you're allowed to say you identify as. Like, there are people who just straight up want to take that from you. And what they do to get in the door, because most people are not going to agree to say, well, I'm just a full on fascist and I think we should eliminate these groups of people. Most people, thank God, would not just get on board with that. But if you can convince enough people that there is an in group and there is an out group, and that out group is very small and they're just so weird. And once you get people to concede that that small out group can be expendable, the game's over because now everybody's expendable. So I would say sometimes people will use the fact that you're uncomfortable with something to get you to be a bigot. And it will sound so logical. Like, I found out that my dad knows what furries are. How he found out, I don't know. But he was like, Jen, can you believe it? And I just looked him in the face and I was just like, why do you care? How does this affect you? And he was kind of caught off guard, but then he was like, yeah, this doesn't actually affect me, does it? I was like, yeah, no. That's like if I go, oh, can you believe it? There are people who really like pretending that the human race has made it to the stars and they're trekking around there. These people are freaks. Like, that is how I feel when I hear people talk about how much they don't like furries. Because I'm like, they have a hobby. Like, who cares? It doesn't actually really affect you. So, but it's such an easy way to plant the seed of this is a group that shouldn't be. We really have to be super mindful of becoming cops in our heads.
Yeah. No, hard agree.
Because the more we want to police everybody else's existence, is the more we're going to accept our existences being policed.
Big facts. We should end the show there because we're not getting any better.
Oh yeah, no. I was
bars.
I
that
made
was bars.
Yeah, I know. I made a note. I was like, title of the show, and then anything else that we were going to talk about will not be as valuable or as interesting as that. So unless there was anything to add, I think we're going to call it, and we're going to come back soon because there are things that happened, but nothing is as interesting or as important to talk about as this and the creeping and the creeping rot that is censorship. So. And the funny thing is, and the thing is, because it's what's happening is it's a word thing. It's worse because the things that are rightfully censored are still greasing the wheels for things to be unrightfully censored. So yes, I shouldn't be able to hold your Nazi rhetoric in my space. But then they'll come back a year later and be like, well, I see there's an ass cheek here. Why is this here? Huh? And they will equate the two and use the same language and energy. And then the people who are slightly uncomfortable with the single ass cheek will fall into the trap, like you said. And it's very frustrating because we're losing.
It's highly seductive to be in a position where you feel morally right.
Yeah, it is. It is powerful to be morally right and to move a mountain with it. Like, oh yeah, see now how those pants feel there, harlot, and that's you get drunk on that. You get drunk on that, and that is extremely dangerous. It's what we're currently fighting across the globe. And that's why you're the global traveler, trying to literally fight, pushing against fascism with two bare hands, eating terrible curry sandwiches for our freedom. So thank you, N'Jaila. Thank you. Give me your flowers. Make you feel weird on the air? Making you...
It does.
Please put in an applause when you record this.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Also, please support us and our roles in talking and commenting professionally on fascism and the attacks on
Yeah.
marginalized bodies in nerd
Yeah.
related spaces. We are what is our Patreon again, Aaron? I'm so bad.
Patreon.com/on Fridays, like United Nations Fridays, like where N'Jaila frequently goes, the United Nations to fight for our freedom. Fridays.
I got a badge.
you got a badge?
That we made this. We
I do.
made that.
I do have my United Nations badge.
Nigga, you got a badge?
Can I never show you?
Okay, it's so funny how all of this stuff, like all of these jokes that we make, still become reality. Just like we're one of the top 10 podcasts on the Food and Drug Administration.
Yes. Yes. AI, those AI skimmers, boy. They are not skimming there. They are doing the very
There's my United Nations badge.
Hey!
Oh, UN Nation badge. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, that's patreon.com/unfriday, otherwise known as United Nation Friday.
And if you want to support me in trying to fight fascism, my cat just knocked so much stuff over.
If you want to support N'Jaila's cat fighting fascism,
you could go to njrua.org or njrua.org /donate. And we love a recurring donation. Small amounts, recurring, add up. And we use that money to try to fight some really bad laws and do things like trying to hold the United States accountable for its human rights abuses. And also we have a mutual aid fund where we help sex workers in need. There's a lot of people who are affected by ICE and they are targeting sex workers, and we are trying to fundraise so we can hopefully get people access to immigration lawyers. And that will be a lot of money that we don't have yet, but we're trying to raise.
Important work. Please donate to help sex workers and also folks fighting immigration. This could not be a better time to do it.
Absolutely.
They need all the money they can get.
And if you want to just support me as an activist, I also have a Patreon, which is patreon.com/BlazienBitch. I'm trying to resurrect my website because censorship sucks, and I'm sick of the internet being 3 social media sites that we doom scroll. I want to bring back websites. So BlazienBitch.com is back online.
Yeah.
Does it look like 2018? It does, because I wasn't able to update it. I actually just updated it to the most recent WordPress. I don't know what it's going to look like. I got to figure that out. I'm still working on that. But yeah. Also make smut. The world needs smut.
Oh yeah, we need smut. The world desperate. Yeah. We're yeah, that's absolutely true. Make smut. Do it, folks.
Yes.
Be your best selves. Try to be the best people you can possibly be. Watch out for seductive censorship. The color of that person's pants does not matter. I promise you, it doesn't fucking matter. It has nothing to do with you. Doesn't affect your day, even though they tell you that it does. Please turn off the TV and look at the floor for 45 seconds and think about it. Do those pants affect my day at all? The answer is typically no, especially in America, where again, 19 different countries stuck next to each other, very drivable, terrible countries. But alas, we all need to go. And thank you guys for listening. And
thank you guys for having me. And the Cuncast will return when I am not
you are
constantly going to different countries.
You're very tangibly, believably busy. The only thing I guess you could say is you might want to get on like Instagram or something and like chronicle more of this shit, so that there's a bridge from the podcast not existing to you being a global traveler, actively being an activist in the minute to minute. Now, I don't know.
Yeah, because I will be writing something on Patreon that will eventually be on BlazienBitch.com about Newark Pride, ICE, and Cops at Pride, just to get my feels out. I have a post that I started, but then got too pissed because how the All American Rejects let me down. Like I decided I'm not going to let it go, but I want to wait because I wasn't going to let that guy get spins from that new song. That name I will never find out because I'm not looking it up.
There you go.
But yeah, so things are coming down the pop line.
Well, thank you. And yeah, thank you guys for listening, and have a pleasant day.
Go ahead, stand up.